Thanks, Ashish, for bringing this example again. I would again take this up. Can you take a scenario like you said the teacher is not good and that is why the students are not learning the things well? What if the teacher does not come in the class altogether? Will you be studying physics? I'm sorry, sir, you would be either sitting in the library or playing football outside. And that is what the objective is of these standards which are there into the place. They ensure that whatever policies or the processes you are following are up to the mark and up to the industry standards. You very well mentioned some of the examples like Jamshedji Tata Award and some of the other awards which are really good and they are into a framework, they are not standards. I agree to it. But at the same point of time, you cannot ignore the fact that standards have played an important role in making sure that the private and the public sectors are brought onto the board. I have few examples to support for it. In business, standards play a role in the development of high-tech goods. When a business innovates a technology, international standards facilitates the development of terminology and compatibility of that technology, making the innovation marketable. For governments in the development countries, ISO standards give information about expected attributes of the products and services for the export markets. For society, ISO standards benefits the end consumers by safeguarding their interests and by ensuring that the products and the services they purchase are safe and they are reliable. We are not here to discuss whether ISO actually makes you help doing your work into day-to-day operations or not, but we are here to understand that what crucial role they play to ensure that the things are moving right on the track as per the process. The two sides same to me. No, hold on. Let me complete. I'll answer both the domains. Now, think of an example. Like we are onto the same page of that student-teacher part. A student comes into the school and he passes a Jan, Feb, March and then the whole year cycle and he has not been examined. What will happen to him? Do you think that you would be able to judge what is his actual level or the status of learning? I beg to differ on that, sir. You will not be able to do that. Why? Because there have been no jurisdiction on that. There have been no teaching mechanism, no evaluating mechanism, and no testing mechanism to ensure if the student is performing or learning on the optimum basis or not. And if I would have been the case, or most of the Indian IT companies would have been the case in that case, they would definitely playing football or doing swimming outside. They would not have been performing the processes which they are supposed to follow. And that is what the whole objective of the standards which we are maintaining as of day to day is to ensure. And it is not about just doing the paperwork and it's like you mentioned, they are the checklist experts. I beg to differ on that. They are not checklist experts, rather they are the actual foundation laying people who make sure that you are actually working according to the standards which are maintained and which are actually optimum for the industry as of day to day. They don't just come up and they ask you that have you done this, have you done this, have you done this? No, they drill and grill and ensure that you are deep diving into your industry, learning what is going on and giving the actual outcome which is the optimum requirement as of day to day. So I cannot come up, I can give you examples of certain consulting firms which is there, like we have McKinsey, we have Ernst & Young, we have Infy as well into that case, and they do consulting, they do assessments, we do assessments, we go there, and it's not a exercise wherein I would just go and ask, sir, are you doing this, or I'm just putting a, lathi in my hand like a policing mechanism, he said. Rather, I'm a genuine person, I'm sitting in front of them, making them realize that what are the things which you are missing in your core processes, how you can improvise upon them, and give them a time frame that yes, going forward, in next round of the audit, we will ensure whether these things are improvised upon or not. So if in 6 months span of time you are just doing the documentation and doing the checklisting, in the next 6 months span of time when you have the next round of audit, don't you think that you would be more optimized in the processes and the frameworks which you have been following? Let me give you another example. Standards, ISO 27001. It lays down the complete focus on a particular sector of the industry, and that is information security. Apart from what all processes which are being followed. In most of the organizations I have seen, and this is my personal experience, I have worked for McKinsey, Ernst & Young, I have worked for Infy as well, we have done audits in Wipro Technologies as well. And these frameworks are actually implemented in coherence with those standards to ensure that the information security, which is one of the core area of relevance of our team members or the organization, is being focused upon. Why is that standard being followed? What was the relevance? Information security is already been taken care in ITSM framework. In the service design module, we have a full clause of information security, but why are we laying standards for that? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the point to focus upon. It's not about being a good teacher or a bad teacher, good student or a bad student. It's about what has to be done in a disciplined way, needs to be done. In case, if there is a security breach, there is a separate security incident management process which is being suggested to the organizations, and they have got good results out of it. So that is what my point in relevance to your context when you say that frameworks are equally good enough to ensure what is the need of standards.
Thank you. I think we really think alike. I had the same examples.
Oh, great.
And I'll come back to an example which definitely was very, very similar.
Sure.
Let me first point out that you have brought out a very interesting concept here. That you are a good consultant, you are a genuine person, you go to the audit well prepared, you do a sincere audit, and you make sure that things are complied with. And that brings back to the point that any process is as good as the person who is implementing it. If the same results can be obtained by a fully committed person using a framework, why do I need to pay the lead auditor for doing the same thing? I would say, if a framework can be executed by a team of dedicated personnel, it will give you the same results. Again, you point out the same thing, that why do we do the standards and why do we do the frameworks? I still say standards are only meant for the outside world. The moment, and you gave a very good example of security systems, the moment you lose business, you lose the standard also. If you don't need a customer verifying what you're trying to do, you lose the standard.
You said standards are meant only for outside?
Yes.
What was the full sentence? Outside?
Standards are meant for the outside world.
What?
Okay. Now let me give you another example of, and this was actually one of the points which I had in my initial slides also. You gave a very good example of how the examination system actually doesn't really assess a student. The student system of evaluation, of learning by rote and vomiting in the examination is a very close match with the way standards are implemented. Whether you know something or not, you cram up on subjects, you go and write the correct answers in the paper, you get a first division. However, what it is being replaced by in most good schools today, and I'm sure a lot of us have kids studying with us in the schools, is competency-based assessment. Even companies do that now. Nobody relies on an exam score anymore. Why are we still stuck onto the same concept in IT? Or anywhere else for that matter? I don't buy the point about learning by rote, about genuine people, or the assumption that unless you have a standard, you cannot be effective in business.
Sir, if you don't buy something, doesn't mean it's bad. Firstly. You go to the market, there are many good things into the market, and it's not something which you don't buy, it's not good. Right?
Did you buy an Apple iPod because it's ISO?
Just hold on, let me complete, then you can ask your question.
I think after half a minute you can stop the roll.
Sure. So let me just complete this argument. So, when you say you don't buy something, doesn't mean it's bad. It is something you don't know the worth of it. Or it may be bad, but it can be that you don't know the worth or importance of something. So when you say that you have to cram the books and vomit in the examination, it's not about that. I'll give you a scenario. Sometime back, one of my junior who was reporting to me, he came to me and said, "Sir, I want to do ITL Foundation examination." I said, "Okay, very good." So he said, "Can you give me some guidance?" I said, "Okay, I can give you some guidance." I told him few things, I gave him some concepts and everything. After 6 months span of time, I asked him, "Sir, did you clear your examination?" He said, "No, I couldn't, sir. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm still learning." Okay, 2 months more passed by. So since 8 months he was learning ITL Foundation, course, and he couldn't clear the examination. He said, "Sir, I cannot clear the examination. I'm not confident enough. I keep on learning and forgetting things." I said, "Do one thing. Go and book the examination. Pay 8,500 for next week, and then you'll be able to do the exam. And in next week, he would be able to clear his exam." You know what this scenario is? This scenario is not relevant completely to what we have as on date today. But the point is, it's not policing mechanism. It is putting you into a right discipline. I'll keep on learning a philosophy, I'll keep on learning a framework unless somebody is there to audit and ensure whether I'm following it or not. So it is not about any kind of policing mechanism or cramming up. If I learn few things in examination or for a certification, that doesn't mean that nothing is going in my head. I'm a mature guy. I'm learning something. As I said, for 6 months I was preparing document, at least 20% of the organization would have been coming into my head that, okay, this is the way my organization works. And that is more important, and that is the reason for having those standards in place.
So you mean to say that if standards were not there, I wouldn't have had any business knowledge at all. What kind of a business knowledge does the sales guy have? What kind of a business knowledge does the corporate manager have?
No, I tell you what, if there are no certain standards which are being followed for the sales department as well, they can go and sell anything. Who is responsible for that?
Standard is there for sales.
Every standard is there for sales.
Give me an example.
You give me an example. There is standard doesn't mean if there is ISO certified or any big framework which is there in the market. Standards, as I said, you can see are the laid down policies or the governing fundamentals of an organization.
No, a standard is a specification as you pointed out in your slide.
Yes, I did. Because you know ISO. If you don't know any other standardization or mechanism, how can I focus upon that? I just want to ensure that two things. Number one, standards still play important role. Number two, we have to swipe the bus. Please.